I'm grown and I felt like it, so today we're testing 3 fragrances instead of 1. And we're starting with Earl Grey and Cucumber because, well, that was your top pick. And I can see why. It smells really refreshing. Now, of the 3 fragrances that we're testing, well, I have the most faith in this one, but I still played it safe. I hand stirred that fragrance in instead of using the immersion blender. And my instincts were right. It behaved really, really well. Look how fluid the soap batter is. So we know she doesn't accelerate, but we need to see the cut just to ensure she doesn't discolor. Oh, and we're embossing her with green just to tell her apart from the other batches. Now the second fragrance oil, I side-eyed it just a little bit because there's so many spice components and those tend to accelerate, but I still have hope. It smells mossy and earthy and green, and I kind of love it. So as I'm hand stirring in our fragrance and detect 0 acceleration, I get a little cocky. My hope told me that I could fill individual cell molds rather than using a loaf. And hope was right. And finally, this third fragrance, well, she's just a little different. While she smells of vanilla goodness and hugs, that vanillin content, 7.2%. And because I'm human and I was thinking about the vanillin content, well, I made a mistake here. I usually add test fragrances after I mix my soap batter, but in this instance, I did it before. Grace, I give myself grace, it's fine. So right here, I'm mixing up my lye, oils, and fragrance all at the one time, and you might notice something. Did you peep the color? It's just a little bit different than the previous 2 batches. Well, I know it's hard to see, so look here. Can you see the difference in color? And there's another difference. As I begin pouring her, she's just a little bit thicker. And at first, it was fine. I poured comfortably into those small molds, but as we pour into the larger molds, look, the acceleration is accelerating, and you can tell by this last pour, well, After this, I had to use a spatula, but I did that off camera. Now, friends, I'll post the unmolding in about maybe an hour, but in the meantime, I need you to vote on the next fragrance. Who are we testing? Also, tag any fragrance oil companies in the comments, and I can go to their websites and maybe test their oils. I love testing fragrances, so thank you for keeping me company while I do it. My evil plan has worked and you've come back to see the cut. So let's start with Earl Grey and Cucumber. Now you might have noticed she's yellow. We didn't color her yellow. That 0.2% vanillin colored her yellow, and I have absolutely no idea how dark it's gonna go. She could stop at a deep tan or maybe work her way into a chocolatey brown. Well, we won't know for about 2 weeks. What we do know is that it smells incredible. I can't stop sniffing it. And Tramp in the Forest. It smells comforting. Those top notes of spice, I don't really perceive them. What I do detect are those soft floral scents matched with cedar and amber and tobacco. It smells mossy and earthy and fresh, very green, and it's a more subtle scent. It's not as striking as the Earl Grey and Cucumber. And finally, we have our vanilla, quince, and cardamom. Now the color, it's no surprise. It's 7.2% vanilla. I mean, what else could we expect? We knew what she was. And the scent is marvelous. It's reminiscent of holiday scents without smelling sugary. I like that. And finally, what I find fascinating is the difference in color. Now, vanillin isn't the only component that discolors these, but it's probably the most likely culprit, as is evidenced by the fact that Tramp in the Forest has the least vanillin content and is the brightest of colors. Well, I hope you're enjoying this. I'm going to go count your votes and see what fragrance we're testing next.